Now, Rita, when you go to have that, you send that out to be framed, correct? On the
Well,
larger ones?
I have the frame here. I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to have my framer do it. Actually, I told them I would have her do it.
But you have to use a spacer on that, correct?
I will definitely use a spacer on it. I don't think, I really don't think you have to. Uh, I've had other artists tell me that they frame large pieces with the glass right up on them and they have no trouble. I just like the way a spacer looks. I think it's impressive. I think it impresses the buyers. And on the larger paintings, it's worth my time to do that. On the smaller paintings, it's just not worth my time to do it because I do too many small paintings and it's time consuming to cut little spacers only this big. So yeah, I'll definitely. Plus, especially if they're going to get the acrylic, I do not want the acrylic touching this. Has flexibility, and so and then I actually used like a deeper spacer, like ½ inch or at least 3/8 spacers to keep that up off of the painting even more. Plus, there's that little chance of static with the plexi that you know. I usually do spray. I almost never spray anything except when I have a large painting that's going to have that plexi. Because if it's transported somewhere flat, it better be a really quick drive, especially in this heat, because the plexi will just go like that and just like sink. I made that mistake by leaving a painting. Most of these things that we know that we preach about were learned from experience. This was one of them. I had a large cow painting that I actually had picked it up from Adela, who frames it, and I had it in the back of my car, laying flat with the painting side up. And when I got home, I forgot to take it out of the car for 2 days. And when I finally took it out of the car, that middle of that plexi was touching the painting right in the middle. And there was a good like half it, I bet there was at least a 3/4 inch spacer, not 3/4 inch, 3/8 inch spacer, possibly even a ½ inch spacer. And that plexi it just sank right into the painting from this heat. And the thing is, I didn't notice it until I got to the art festival. I repacked it, standing, I always travel with these things upward on edge, standing up, packed that way in the car. And I got to the art festival, I was setting everything up, I was hanging that thing on the wall. And of course, when you have the plexi when you have it standing up, it'll come out away from the painting a little bit. When it's laying down, it'll like go like that again. So when it's standing up, it started separating from the painting a little bit in the middle. And that's when I could see all this pastel that was right in the middle. It was about an area of like 3 or 4 square inches that had the pastel from the part where it was touching on the inside of the plexi. So it was like this double image kind of thing going on where you could see the painting. It didn't really mess up the painting that much because, it takes a lot to mess up a pastel painting. People don't realize that. But, the surface pastel was picked up from that plexi and it was right there on the inside of the plexi. And it looked, I just stood there for like a minute and I was just like, I can't display this like this. And then I was like, well, maybe nobody will notice. And I'm like, no, I noticed it right away. Maybe somebody wouldn't notice, but somebody's going to notice. And so this was like 20 minutes before opening, people were going to be coming in. And so I was like, okay, let me hurry up. I put the table down. I brought my table out. I put the painting face down on the table. I cut open the back paper. It was all papered up and everything. It was all completely finished. I opened it up. I took out the painting. I cleaned the plexi. I cleaned it. And I was thinking, you know what? This plexi is kind of bowing inward. If I turn it around and face it outward, then it will just bow outward instead of inward, and it'll be farther away from the painting. So that's what I did, and then it looked fine. But oh my gosh, I was like still doing that when people were coming in. I'm like, don't mind me, I just had a little framing issue. But oh God. So never again will I leave anything with that plexiglass laying flat in a car for any length of time. I don't even like to travel with it that way at all.
I think you told me before you don't like to go too large with the passe-partout method.
Yeah, it's mostly just because I do like how spacers look. I mean, if somebody told me today that here you have a free assistant that will do nothing but put spacers on your artwork, I'd be like, yes, beautiful. I just don't want to do it. I'm just too lazy to do it on all the small stuff. And really, I truly believe it's not necessary. So I will put it on sometimes I'll put it on a 12 by 12, sometimes I won't, but that's kind of like the size cutoff. Anything smaller than a 12 by 12, I won't bother, unless it's a commission and I think it will look better. Like I put it on a cat that was a 9 by 12 recently. And, just because I felt like I wanted to do that. But otherwise, yeah, the larger they get, I feel like the value is worth the time because I'm getting paid more for a larger painting. So, I'll go ahead and I'll do it.